Hi guys, it's Lanikia. I am coming to you with season 1, episode 3 of Manifest. Yes, we're almost caught up. One more episode to go. It's called Turbulence. Okay, so it starts out with sorry, that's a neighbor. So it starts out with Kelly being found, deceased in her home. So she was murdered, and we see that. We see that part of it and everything. So then we see that Cal, and Michaela are playing a game on the, how you use the little magnets on the to spell out words, and so they're spelling out words and everything. And Ben goes over to the TV because he realizes that something has happened to Kelly, so he calls Michaela over. So they're looking at the TV and they realize that she's passed away. So of course they want to go and investigate because, they know something's weird is going on. So then what ends up happening is Olive goes upstairs and she sneaks out and she tells her brother to keep her secret that she's sneaking out or whatever, because they're twins. Keep my secret, twin. So anyways, so then Ben talks to. So then the next episode we see Ben talking to Sanvi, and she's found blood work of cows that wasn't there before, and it's unique. So she's trying to do more research on it. So Michaela, we find, is having, so after Ben finds this, he also finds a condom on the floor of their bedroom. I think that was a condom, wasn't it? Anyways, so while he's talking to Sanvi, and so he's a little bit distracted while he's talking to her, but because he, of course he knows his wife has been with someone, but I guess he didn't think about they were in his home, in their bedroom, being intimate. So anyways, then we go to Michaela wanting to go and drive to Jersey because she wants to investigate Kelly's death. She wants to go to the murder scene. But she's having a hard time driving. Like, she can't drive because of the accident. She has flashbacks. So she goes in and she tells Ben she needs him to drive her. And he's like, how did you get on the force again? And she tells him, I didn't tell him. Just like, I didn't tell him that. So he drives her to Kelly's, but Ben is like, I'm going inside, like, because this affects Cal, this affects me, this affects you. This affects just more than, if something bad happened and it's because of the flight and everything, it affects all of us. Y'all, I'm tired. I've been working like since 7 this morning, and it is now 7 o'clock at night. Well, I've actually been up since like 5. I only got I went to sleep late, so I only got like 2-3 hours of sleep. I'm exhausted. Anyways, so Michaela gets inside of Kelly's house by telling him she's a police officer and she's thinking it might be a connection. So he door one solid, and so he lets her inside of the detective lets her inside of the house. So they're asking questions, getting information, and then Robert Vance from the NSA. So I found out his name because I didn't know his name the whole time. But the black man from the NSA that's been investigating what happened with the flight, he shows up and he's like, these two are associated with the crime victim. So anyways, they have to leave. Mr. Taylor is outside and he's with the ambulance, and he tells them that Kelly had been feeling like she had a calling and she needed to own her truth. She just kept saying that she needed to own her truth, and she had a calling, something was provoking her, and that's why she was going on all the news outlets, that's why she was doing all that. Now last week Kelly just looked smug, but we find out like it was telling her to do this, telling her, own, to expose the government. Something was telling her to do that. So that's what she does. Now, of course, because Robert Vance knows about Michaela and what she, about she's being connected. She can't do any more investigation, so she asks Jared to do it for her. So he's going to make some calls and everything for her. So in the next scene, we see that Ben and Michaela go to Kelly Taylor's home, which is her with her husband, and the maid, the housekeeper. They're there, and they're just talking about how she just kept saying over and over she needed to own her truth, and she went to the mall to get her hair done, and she came back all bruised up, and she just, that's what they were saying, that they were, that she was just acting weird, like she just had to let the government say that the government was behind something. So then Michaela, remember, as they're leaving out of the house, people are coming over, dropping off things for Kelly's husband. And as they're leaving out, Michaela remembers going to Evie's parents' home when she was having the wake and everything, or the funeral, the repast, and how Evie's parents blamed Michaela for her death, and they turned her away at the door and told her, leave. So then we cut to the scene where Grace is at her job, and she's talking to Rob. I don't know if that's a coworker or a boss or whatever, but she's talking to Rob, and Rob is really close to Danny, which we find out that's the man's name that Grace has been seeing these past 2 years, or however long it's been. So Rob tells Michaela that he feels like she's cheating on Danny. And she says she feels a little bit like that too. And he's like, I feel, she knows that she's making the wrong choice. Because she's in love with Danny, but she's got her husband back now. You know what I mean? So she's conflicted about the whole situation. Now, to me, she should just chill out. She should tell Ben, it's been 5 years. I know it's only been like a week for you, but it's been 5 years for me, and my life has moved on, and I just need to figure it out. I think that's what she should do, but of course, this is television, so that's not what she's doing. So anyways, that's that whole thing. So then Michaela goes and visits Evie's parents. And when she goes in, Evie's mom is really, she welcomes her in, and she's talking to her about curtains, and then she starts calling for Evie. And that's when Evie's dad comes out, and he tells her, "Oh, remember Evie went to the store. She'll be back." And so Michaela learns that Evie's mom has Alzheimer's now, and the dad just doesn't want to break her heart every 15 minutes by letting her know that Evie is dead. So that's what's going on there. So then we go to Ben. Someone knocks on the door, and it's Kevin, who turns out to be Cal's best guy friend when he was younger. So Ben thinks he's there to see Cal, and it turns out he's really there to see Olive because they've been having a it's been 5 years, and they've grown up, and they're dating now. And so Cal becomes jealous of this because he's lost everything. Like, he's still, look at Olive, look at Kevin, and he's just this little, he feels like he's just still this little kid and everything. So he tells on, excuse me, y'all. So he tells on Olive that she snuck out of the house or whatever. So Olive is mad at him because he ratted her out because he's mad. So then Kelly. So they find out, Jared comes to Michaela with information, and they find out that Kelly and them own the mall that she went and got her hair cut at. So Michaela is thinking, well, isn't that odd that she owned the mall and everything? And so they go down to the mall. Ben goes with her, and as they're going down, looking around, this woman just takes off running. And so they catch up with the woman, and she tells them that Mr. Taylor, Kelly's husband, is very shady. Like, he charges them extra, like a lot of money, and if they don't pay, he calls immigration and stuff on them. And Kelly told her now that she was back, she was gonna straighten all that up. Like, the woman was like, yeah, I pushed her or something, but I didn't hurt her or anything. Her husband was shady. So of course they investigate her husband, and they find out like he might have been shady, but he didn't kill his wife because he had like 6 alibis around him, so there was witnesses to him. So it couldn't have been him. So then Detective Nelson tells Jared, because he's wanting the captain to give information on Michaela, and the captain won't do it. He said she's his best, she's come back, she's good and everything. So he tells Jared, he kind of threatens Jared's job if you don't want to make an enemy out of me, and if you know it's good for you and your job or whatever. And so Jared tells Michaela, like, you got to stop going off, and you got to start thinking like a cop and everything. So then so Sanvi figures out, so the next scene we find that Sanvi has figured out that they have stroke-like symptoms, and the same symptoms that are in Cal is the same symptoms that are in herself. So now she's thinking, well, what if it's in all of us? So then the next scene we go to is Ben going home. And Ben's going home, and the gate is open and everything, and somebody's in his house. So of course, anytime somebody's in your house, you think it's an intruder. So he charges the man up, and then come to find out, like the next scene, it was this man named Lindsay, and Olive had given him a key because she had forgot something. So he went and he was sitting there like he had a little attitude, and I'm like, sir, he don't know, if Ben doesn't know you, and if someone was in my house, I would have charged you up too. I don't know who you are, so like you can't be having that much of an attitude or whatever. And so then Ben is like, he's telling Grace, like, how many more men am I gonna find in the house or whatever? And she's like, this person helped with this and this person helped with that, but those aren't the men you're talking about. He's really talking about Danny, because his mind is still messed up because he saw that condom in the bedroom. So she said, but you're still talking about Danny, but I'm with you, I love you, it's just you and everything. So that is that. So then Michaela goes and visits the man that they say has killed Kelly, because they have a suspect and they think he's killed Kelly, and he tells her, like, he knows who Michaela is automatically. He's like the woman in that last episode who was like, he's risen and everything. He was like, yeah, I know you. Which, why are they not trying to investigate these people? I don't understand Michaela and them. Like, investigate these people. Like, ask them questions. Like, what do you mean when you say you know us and we've risen and all of that? But anyways, his name is Isaiah, and he's just telling her, no, I didn't kill Kelly, but I don't mind going to prison. I've been there before. Like, she's not asking enough questions for me. Like, he's talking really weird, and you're not getting the information that I wanted to know. Like, what do you, like, explain yourself or whatever. But it is what it is. So, he tells her, that he didn't kill Kelly, and she says, well, I need you to help me so I can find out who did it or whatever. So that's pretty much it with him. And he tells her that she was already dead when he got there, and she died in his arms, and he didn't take a necklace or anything like that. So then Michaela goes to Evie's parents' home again, and they find out, and she finds out that Evie's mom has disappeared, and the police won't let the dad go look for her because she might come back there. So he tells Michaela to drive. So Michaela drives, and this is when we find, Isaac told Michaela, you need to, everything you're holding and keeping a secret is going to come out, so you might as well unburden yourself. So she was going to Evie's parents' house to let them know what really happened the night of the accident. And when she got there, the mother was missing. So the father told her, take the keys and go find her or whatever. So she gets in the car, and then she has a flashback because she's scared to drive. Because remember, it's been 5 years, but it's only been a few days for her. So she's scared to drive. And we find out that, I guess Michaela was celebrating something, and Evie got wasted. And she wanted to drive, and Michaela was like, no, I'm going to call an Uber. So Michaela was calling an Uber, and Evie was like, I need my car tomorrow. And Evie took the keys, and she was going to drive. But Michaela was like, no, because Michaela had been drinking, but she was not drunk like that. So I guess she was just like, oh, I'm just gonna do it myself or whatever. So she did. She drove, and so that's what really happened. Like, if Michaela hadn't drove, then Evie would have gotten into that wreck anyways, because she was already wasted and she was gonna drive or whatever. And Michaela was wanting to call her Uber, but Evie wouldn't let her. So then when Michaela goes and she's driving, she sees the mother in the street. And someone is coming down the road and they're about to hit her. And so Evie takes off and, why am I calling Michaela Evie? Sorry. So Michaela takes off and she barges, like they do an intersection. So she stops, she blocks the SUV from hitting Evie's mom. So when she does that, Evie's mom looks, because she's all right. She looks, so Michaela runs to the other, because she realizes Evie's mom's okay. So she runs to the passenger in the SUV to see if they're okay. And when she does, she realizes it's the maid, Kelly's maid, and she sees the necklace, and it was the necklace that Kelly had on that had went missing. So she realizes the maid did it. And so then the next scene we see, the maid is in the investigation room, and she's pretty much saying like, I was his wife while she was gone. He never looked better. Like, the husband never looked better. He was eating. He was healthy looking. He was happy. Now, mind you, the husband was shady, but he never got with this maid. He never did anything with this maid. This was all in her head. So, yeah. So that's what that was. So, anyways, so she pretty much told off on herself. So yes, she went in and shot her. She went in and shot her. So the housekeeper was the one who committed the crime. So Jared is like, Michaela, how did you know? Like, how is it possible that you were the one that caught the maid or whatever? And she was like, the less you know, Jared, the better. And so he let it go. And then the detective had given him his card earlier because he wanted him to spy on Michaela, and Jared ripped up the card, so he's not going to do it. So the twins bond because, they've been having a little friction the episode, because Cal is like really trippy that, everyone is so much older than him and he's still a little boy, and everything, and all of the rest, everyone else is teenagers. So he's a little trippy about that. But, he and his sister bond. And then we see Grace at Evie's parents, and she's playing a game. I think it's card games with the mother and everything. And then once again, Michaela was playing card games with Evie's parents. Once again, Grace reassures her husband that it's only him. But then, when they hug, you look at her face, and that's not where she wants to be. And it's like, sis, like, just admit that you're in love with another man. It's been time. It might not be that much time for him, but it's been time. You should have just admitted it like Jared and everyone else did and went on about your business. Or whatever. But I guess it's not not that easy when you're married, and your husband comes back from the dead. So anyways, so then Michaela comes in from visiting Evie's parents, and she's like, hey Ben, I've been trying to call you. Sunvi has been trying to reach you, and he was working on his resume and everything because he needs to find a job, and so he had his phone on silent. So they go to Sunvi, and she lets them know that the blood work, because she did an MRI and all that on herself, and she has the exact same blood work as Cal, and it looks like when you're at the point of dying, but you come back, like almost like a stroke, but you come back from it. And so she was like, and I need to, figure it out, and the best tissue to do is a brain. She said, so, and they was like, oh, Kelly's body. And she said, but the thing is, I can't find Kelly's body. She's not registered anywhere, and when I type her name in, it says access denied. And so Ben is like, that's why they came down here, the NSA, the Nelson from the NSA, they were wanting Kelly's body. What are they doing to it? So then it goes off with Kelly's body being transported, and we don't know where. She's in this warehouse with detectives on the outside of it, like keeping it safe and like security. and they wearing what's, the suits when you're trying to make yourself not like, how when they quarantine you, they're wearing those type of suits and everything, and they have Kelly's body. So yeah, that was that. So they took her body. I don't know what I like it. I don't know if they can ask the husband about it or what, but they took her body. So that was the manifest. So that was the recap. My review. It was a good episode. It was a good episode. I don't feel like we didn't learn much from this, because I thought we were going to learn more about the shadow, but it turned out to be the maid who did it. So did the shadow get into the maid? I don't know, but it was a cool episode. I just thought we were going to learn a bit more or whatever, but it was a good episode, but it felt like a filler, if that makes sense. It felt like a filler episode. So, but anyways, I hope you guys have a great night. Tomorrow I'm gonna do the last episode of Manifest, and then I'll be all caught up, and then I can just drop them every week. And then after that, so then that just leaves me with catching up with This Is Us. I'm gonna do an episode of This Is Us tonight, and then tomorrow, and I should be pretty much caught up with This Is Us, so I can start working on A Million Little Things, and then New Amsterdam. So I should be caught up with my series. If not this week, definitely next week I'll be caught up with all 4. And I'm so happy, because then I can take a break and I won't have to work these long hours between working and doing this. But I do enjoy this, so it doesn't even feel like I'm just watching TV and then recording a video. So it's fun. All right, guys, I hope you guys have a great evening. Tell me what you think about this episode. Ooh, child, you can see I'm ready. Like, I'm literally ready for bed. I just threw on this little thing so I could look a little bit, so you wouldn't see my nightgown and everything. But all right, guys, enjoy your rest of your night.